Hello and welcome to another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Connor Moreno, lead writer for UCLA Bruins on SI. And today, we're going to go ahead and continue our depth chart roundup. We have a little bit more information about players who are on UCLA's roster because, ahead of media days last week, they went ahead and released their active roster or official roster going into training camp. Which, by the way, fall camp actually starts today, the day that you're listening to this, July 30th. They're going to be playing in Costa Mesa as the Washerman facility undergoes the installation of some new grass. So, fall camp is starting. That means we're one step closer to the football season, and which means we're going to go ahead and preview some positions for the Bruins this season. And I think today we should go ahead and move on to the tight ends, kind of round out the offense. I think we've done quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and then corners. So we still have a few more position groups to get to, but let's round out the offensive skill players by going into the tight ends. Without further ado, let's get it started with the projected number one starter at the tight end position for the Bruins this season. It's going to be Hudson Habermill. He is a redshirt senior, 6'7", 245 pounds. He's retaining that number 81. And, of course, he's projected as UCLA's starting tight end. And he's coming off an ACL injury that kept him out all of last season. He was expected to be going into, I think he was recovering. He was recovering during spring camp, but he is expected to be going into fall camp completely cleared. In fact, at the Big Ten Media Days, Deshaun Foster went ahead and confirmed that he's been active pretty much all summer. So he's a full go all off season and ahead of the new season. In 2023, Habermill caught 9 passes only for 148 yards, but he did have 3 touchdowns. And the season prior to that, he caught 15 passes for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. In his final season of eligibility, he's looking to return and impact UCLA's offense as the starter. But I will say that this position group does have a couple dynamic returners at the top. I don't think it's just going to be Hudson or Huddy, as Coach Deshaun Foster refers to him. Because backing him up is going to be Jack Peterson, who is a redshirt junior. He's returning as well. 6'5", 240 pounds. He's also retaining his number 28. He backed up Maliko Matavao last season, who was drafted 248th in the 7th round of this year's NFL draft to the New Orleans Saints. Last season, Peterson finished with 12 receptions for 126 yards, and he did have 1 touchdown. He's been pretty much a career backup in his time at UCLA. He's also going to be projected to be backing up Habermill this season. But I do expect him to have some pretty good impact. I feel like this Bruins offense is going to be a bit more dynamic than it used to be, especially with Nico Iamaleava. And who knows, maybe a double tight end lineup can prove to be beneficial for the Bruins this season. Up next, we have another redshirt senior, Jake Renda. He is 6'5", 245 pounds. He comes to Westwood. He's a transfer by way of Pitt. Honestly, if you ask me, I think he can be as good as a starter-level tight end for the Bruins, especially by the end of the season. Obviously, we can't predict injuries, but I feel like if there were going to be some injuries to UCLA's top 2 or even top 1, Renda could step into that position and kind of fulfill it as good as someone could. Up next, after Renda, we have Peter Barrio. He's another returner. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, and he's wearing number 44. By the way, Jake Renda wearing number 88. That is the official number on the roster. Barrio walked on to the Bruins in 2023, and he redshirted in his first season. In 2024, he appeared in just 2 games, but it was mostly on special teams. The expectation, though, is that may be the case again this season, although he is a little bit higher in the depth chart than he typically has been in his first 2 seasons. But, I mean, honestly, if you look at the talent ahead of him, Habermill, Peterson, Renda, I think it's going to be pretty difficult for Barrio and the next two players to get any playing time at all. Offensively, I should say, because Barrio will most likely be a mainstay on the special teams. And then after Barrio, we have two incoming freshmen. So the first one's going to be Dylan Sims. He is a freshman, 6'5", 225 pounds, wearing number 87. He's part of UCLA's 2025 recruiting class. He's likely going to redshirt this first year, as I said. He's a 3-star recruit. He was the 14th ranked overall prospect out of Arizona. And then up next, we have Noah Fox Flores, who is also a freshman. He's wearing number 82. He is 6'4", 245 pounds, also part of the 2025 recruiting class. There were reports, especially from Bruin Report Online, who was always at the training camps and whatnot, that he looked pretty good in the spring, but he's definitely likely going to be redshirted. Pretty much like a whole lot of these younger players on the roster, especially after the incredible transfer portal that UCLA had. I think in general in college football, it's going to be difficult for incoming freshmen unless you're like an elite 5-star or a really good 4-star to have any inkling of any playing time. We do have a little bit of time left and we're done, so that's going to round out the tight ends. But I did want to touch on a little bit of a recruiting update. UCLA landed in the top 12 schools of Utah's number 1 prospect in the class of 2027, Crew Jones. He's the edge out of Millville, Utah, from Ridgeline High School. He cut his options down to 12 schools on Saturday, and UCLA made the cut alongside Ohio State, Oregon, Florida State, Nebraska, USC, Washington, Oklahoma, BYU, Stanford, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. I forgot to mention, but Jones is a 4-star. He's the number 1 recruit in the class of 2027 for Utah. I think he's about the he's the 20th ranked edge in the entire nation. And Bruins defensive coordinator Ikai Kamaloy, he put in early work on Jones. He went out to see him in the spring and again in June at camp. Foster and his staff have done a really good job at kind of developing these relationships with young Bruins, or potential young Bruins, young prospects, I should say. We have an evaluation for Jones. Greg Biggins for 24/7 Sports and evaluated him in March. Here's what he had to say about him. He's a highly productive edge rusher and will be a 4-year starter at Ridgeline. Has prototype size and athleticism for an edge rusher. Quick off the ball with a good first step. Can dip and bend to get around the edge and shows off a really good spin move as well. Very physical player in everything he does. Playing the run, taking on blocks, and rushing the passer. Plays with heavy hands and knows how to use them. Has an advanced skill set with multiple moves and counters to go with a high mortar. Tough kid as well, and plays it with an edge. High major power forward prospect, good enough to play for any school in the country. So UCLA landed in his top 12. I mean, they're in there with some giants, with some behemoths. But if there's one thing that we learned this offseason is that UCLA is developing a tremendous scouting and recruiting prowess. They currently have the 21st class ranked in the nation for the 2026, and they're looking to improve in years beyond that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow.